It's camping season again, if you can believe it, so it's time to take a look at some more ships to make into campers. Of course, it's always camping season somewhere in the galaxy, as the planet's seasons aren't synchronized, but whatever. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and these are 5 more great ships for camping in Star Wars. Iota-class Shuttle. We started the first camper list off with a tiny one, so it's only fitting we do the same this time too. The Sinar Cygnus Iota-class TS-485 light shuttle is one of the smallest hyperdrive-equipped ships that I am aware of. And like the quad jumper I talked about last year, it would be too small to turn into a camper itself, but the perfect size to carry your tent and sleeping bag out into a beautiful scenic location. It measured 8.4 meters long by 9.5 wide and 4.4 tall, and while we don't know the rest of its stats, it's safe to assume that it had around a 900 km/h top speed and a Class 2 hyperdrive. It had a crew of 1 pilot and probably 3 to 5 passengers, plus a tiny amount of cargo. I like the Iota Shuttle for camping because it can get you into tight spaces that larger ships could not, like the dense forests of Endor or rocky canyons of Jeddah. It would also be unobtrusive if you are camping in a popular location and don't want to block everyone else's views. Most importantly though, it is almost certainly an inexpensive and accessible ship. We don't know its price for sure, but I would guess it to be around 20,000 credits or less, making it the perfect entry-level ship to get you out into nature. Uwing. Next up is the Incom UT-60D Uwing, whose rugged and durable design would make an excellent camper as well. It shouldn't be difficult to convert its small passenger cabin into a camper with a bed, camp stove, and storage for your hiking gear. Furthermore, it is one of the few ships in this size range that have side windows, though the U-Wing's side windows leave a lot to be desired compared to some of the ships we talked about last time. More impressive, though, are its cockpit windows, which give its pilots a spectacular view above and below the ship. This was designed to help the pilot find a clear landing zone on a battlefield, but would make for excellent sightseeing as well. Unfortunately, because of its military roots, it might be difficult to find the more famous UT-60D U-Wing, but there are other models of U-Wing, like the BT-45D, that might be easier to get. It might be a bit harder to find a campsite that can accommodate the UT-60D at 24 meters long by 8.5 meters wide and 3.5 tall, but a lot of that footprint is negative space created by the long wings and engines, so it might not be as bad as it sounds. It had a Class 1 hyperdrive and a top speed of 950 km/h. It required 1 pilot but preferred 2 and could carry 8 passengers, at least until you fill it with stuff. And with a price tag of just 65,000 credits, it is one of the best values money could buy, as long as you can find one. Sheathipede Type B. Another potentially good choice would be the Heor-Chal Engineering Sheathipede Type B. There have been several different models of the Sheathipede over the years, and I think this version would make for the best camper out of the selection. I made a video all about the Sheathipede a while ago, so if you want to explore other options, you can take a look at that one next. It's an older video, but it checks out. I've chosen the Type B because it offers a lot more room to convert the interior into a camper. The basic Sheathipede, and its more similar derivatives, are probably too small to make a comfortable camper, but not suitable for an adventure vehicle like the Iota Shuttle. However, the Type B is extended by about 6 meters in the center section to accommodate more separatist cargo. You could fit out the cargo bay with a restroom, kitchen, bed, and living area. The largest RVs on Earth are usually only 45 feet or 14 meters long, the size of the original Sheathipede, so with an extra 6 meters to work with, you could really go crazy with it. And at only 20 meters long by 9 to 10 meters wide and 10 or 11 meters tall, it still shouldn't be too hard to find campsites to fit it. Just not maybe any Earth campgrounds. The only potential issue is the Sheathipede's sharp-pronged landing gear. The original Sheathipede was given these claw-like gear to avoid landing at Trade Federation farms, mines, and other working-class locations without access to hard-surface landing pads. And with the center extension, the Type B would be significantly heavier and would struggle to land on soft surfaces even more than the original. Well, safely, anyway. But given the major role the Sheathipede played in the Confederacy's war efforts and the more utilitarian uses of the Type B, perhaps this wasn't as big of an issue as the Neimoidians had intended it to be. And while I said the landing gear were the only issue, there is also the matter of price. We don't know what the Type B cost, but the base model cost an astonishing 120,000 credits. However, by the time of the Clone Wars, the basic Sheathipede was over a decade old and had likely reduced in price somewhat. Furthermore, the Separatists were using a more utilitarian version without the luxuries afforded to the Trade Federation's executives and salesmen, and this version is what the Type B was based on. All this is to say, it's impossible to say what the price of the Sheathipede Type B is. But I would guess it to be in the range of 80 to 100,000 credits new, or perhaps 25% less used. Quite a lot for a ship with so few frills built in, but with a big windshield to look out of and a lot of space for your family and friends, I think it is still quite a viable option. ST-70 Assault Ship. For something a bit more robust, the Corellian Engineering Corporation ST-70 Assault Ship is worth considering. This ship will be safe and comfortable in any terrain, from the hottest deserts to the coldest tundras. Not that other ships wouldn't, I guess. But the ST-70 is extremely durable, reliable, and easy to repair, making it a good ship to take out into the wilderness. Its interior is quite Spartan, but wouldn't take much work to convert it into a camper. It already had some small living quarters on the upper deck, but the cargo bay could be built into something nicer if you find them lacking. Otherwise, you could put your camping equipment in there, or turn it into a nice space for various other outdoorsy things. The ST-70 measured 24 meters long by 16.5 wide and 8.5 tall. It had a crew of 1 and could carry 4 passengers, though if you want to bring more friends along on your camping trip, you could certainly install bunk beds in the cargo bay. We don't know the rest of its stats, but it appears to be roughly on par with a TIE fighter in terms of speed, perhaps 1,000 to 1,200 kilometers per hour. Its hyperdrive was probably a Class 2, and it could carry a couple hundred tons of cargo. Like most of the ships on this list, it's hard to say what it cost, but similar ships tend to be in the 80 to 100,000 credit range. STE-series Light Freighter. And finally, a ship I quite like, but not a lot of people think about, is the Sub-Pro STE-series Light Freighter. I made a video last year making up lore for this ship, thinking that we would never get any official details for it due to its relative obscurity, where I labeled it as a Latero Spaceworks yacht. And while it has since been designated as a Sub-Pro freighter instead, I think it would still make a good ship to spend time in. It was outfitted with a very comfortable passenger cabin, containing seating and a holo projector, and a huge windshield offering pilots the best view of any of the ships we've looked at today. The interior similarities between this and the Stinger Mantis were what made me think this was a Latero yacht at first, and indeed made it a hard choice between including this or the Latero Spaceworks S-161 Stinger XL, but I just talked about that like a month ago, and I've been waiting for an excuse to talk about this one again ever since they published the encyclopedia with its new name. So this is the one I went with. In addition to a very nice cabin for a freighter, it also has what I assume must be a communications antenna on the top, implying it can keep you connected to all your favorite HoloNet shows if you aren't looking to go completely off the grid. And its cargo bay can be useful as well. As a freighter, it should have plenty of room for a speeder or something to explore with if you're not into hiking. We don't know any of its stats for certain, but I estimate it to be about 30 meters long by 25 wide and 19 tall in landing mode, or 42 wide and 9 tall in flight. It probably had a Class 1 or 2 hyperdrive, and a top atmospheric speed of 850 kilometers per hour, and could carry 6 passengers and 50 tons of cargo. It likely cost somewhere around 100 to 150,000 credits, which is a lot, but still a good value for all you get. And those are 5 more of the best ships to camp in Star Wars. As usual, let me know which of these was your favorite, and what else you would have selected in the comments. If you like camping, check out the previous iteration of this video next, as well as the companion video about the best planets to camp on. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Happy trails. RFC out.